If anything or everything in this video we're about to discuss is true, then Metal Gear Solid fans are going to have a great 2023, a mind-blowing 2023 full of Metal Gear Solid announcements. So let's get straight into it with the most latest bit of news in regards to Metal Gear Solid. So this was on the 29th of December 2022. Konami producer Noriaki Nakamura teased the future of Konami in 2023, which I think he said all this in an investors call meeting. He says the key word for 2023 is long awaited. Ambitions for 2023, other than the educational edition of Momotaro Dentetsu announced last year, 2023 will be a year of many announcements, so stay tuned. Now, when you say long awaited, there's only one IP. Well, actually there's two IPs that I guess you can say have been long awaited for Konami to start revealing new things for, new games, new projects, and that is Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania. But I think Metal Gear Solid is a little bit more popular, or a lot more popular than Castlevania, but both are eligible for the long awaited kind of criteria of what he's saying so far. However, Nakamura has served as a producer on various Metal Gear titles in the past, including the latest installment, which of course wasn't that great, wasn't great at all, which was Metal Gear Solid Survive. There's also been a report recently that has claimed that developer Virtuous is currently working on a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So with that, let's start getting into the Metal Gear Solid remake, starting with Metal Gear 3 Remake, where VGC rumors suggest that Konami is working on Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake. So the company Virtuous is a video game development company in Singapore who specialize in game development and art production for AAA consoles, PC and mobile titles, working as an external developer for other companies. So they kind of help other main developers with their games, and what's very interesting is that they actually helped Konami on past games like Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain as the support studio. Also, VGC will write about God of War Ragnarok and also about the Silent Hill games, which were recently announced in the Konami Silent Hill showcase. Also, a concept artist at Virtuous has a Metal Gear Solid art book in the background of one of their company's recruiting videos, which is very, I think it's a hidden Easter egg. I mean, these guys know how detailed, they literally develop concept art for upcoming games. So they know how to be very technical with details. And adding a Metal Gear Solid art book in the background is just kind of a little tease that they could be helping a studio or maybe be the main developer this time for this Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Now, in terms of platforms and exclusivity, we're going to kind of see a hint of that when we cover the Metal Gear Solid 1 remakes, but it seems like once we go over the Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, this seems like it's going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5. So without further ado, let's start talking about Metal Gear Solid 1 remakes. We have got most of this news from Game Rant, so you can go ahead and check them out and look into it for yourselves if you want to go ahead and read the articles. But a leak by Aria Jugones reveals that a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 is in development exclusively for the PlayStation 5. Now, if this is exclusive to PlayStation 5 with this remake, then perhaps Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, if it's true, will also be exclusive to PlayStation 5. Aria Jugones mentioned receiving this information from anonymous sources who state that this project has been in the works for years. While the leaker has not revealed any concrete details, they claim that this Metal Gear Solid title will indeed be a PS5 exclusive game. According to Aria Jugones, a full announcement of this project could be made relatively soon. Such rumors should be taken with a grain of salt, and fans will have to wait for confirmation from Konami on a possible Metal Gear Solid remake. This was from Game Rant on December 4th, 2022. And the rest of this information that I'm also going to be reading out is also from Game Rant, but this is kind of a more recent article from Game Rant, And it's very interesting that they've said that Metal Gear Solid 1 has been in development for a while now, and I think this is alongside perhaps, I think they're alluding to that it has been in development with Blue Point Games, and this has been also in development alongside Demon's Souls. Now on September 23rd, 20th, I'm going to read this article here that says Red Gaming Tech cites an unnamed source that claims Konami is moving forward with a full-blown Metal Gear Solid remake for PC and PS5. So again, this rumor, this kind of leak, is also stating that this is most likely going to be a PS5 remake. Not only that, but Konami apparently plans on releasing HD remasters of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriot for PlayStation 5 as well. So that's very interesting that they're going to be remaking 1 and 3 as well as making a HD remaster for them. So that's something to consider, and I really would love a HD remaster, but we're going to get more into the remaster things a little bit later. So on November 28th, 2020, Alika Moore's Law is Dead posted a video on YouTube stating that the company Blue Point Games, who is now owned by Sony, will move forward with developing a Metal Gear Solid remake. Now this has been in development for 3 years, which kind of is kind of hand in hand with Aria Gigonez's leak that it's been in development for years. He also says that Mark Cerny has also been involved in this process at some capacity. So Mark Cerny is a guy at PlayStation. I think he's like the hardware engineer, isn't he? He's like one of the hardware engineers. But he's very knowledgeable on what these new systems can do, what they should be doing in terms of like the SSD, what the future of the games will look like, the future of the games industry should look like. He's very much at the forefront of all of that, Mark Cerny is. So with him being involved, we hope to see some things in this Metal Gear Solid 1 remake that can only be achieved on PlayStation 5 and especially on these next gen consoles, something that is very mind-blowing in terms of graphics, visuals, and also technical aspects as well. So how credible is Moore's Law? Well, Moore's Law is Dead has been correct in the past after correctly leaking the God of War Ragnarok a year before its release. So sorry about that. I think I said earlier that VGC was right about God of War Ragnarok. No, VGC was right about the Silent Hill games, and Moore's Law was right about God of War Ragnarok a year before its release. So perhaps this has been developed alongside Demon's Souls, and Bluepoint also tweeted out a cryptic tweet on Halloween 2020 that says "Have a metal Halloween" at the end, and also there was also a soundbite Easter egg in Demon's Souls that sounds like Rex from Metal Gear Solid. So there are little Easter eggs that Bluepoint have been teasing fans with, but we are going to talk a little bit more about them later when it comes to some other news and some other rumors. But in my opinion, do I think Bluepoint Games is making a Metal Gear Solid remake? I mean, maybe, but they were also saying that they're working on a new project, and I guess that's where the gray area is. Is Metal Gear Solid Remake considered to be a new project? Because the way they kind of worded it was going to be like a new game, a new IP, something that hasn't been done before, and it's not a remake or remaster. That's something that the head of Bluepoint Games specifically said, that they definitely weren't going to be making a remake / remaster. But is Metal Gear Solid 1 remake? I mean, it's literally in the title, it is a remake, but it's kind of like a completely fresh new game, especially bringing Metal Gear Solid 1 to new platforms. So that's something to consider, and we'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Moving on to April 19, 2021, leaker Catharsis from Reset Era has said that there are several Metal Gear Solid remakes in development. So that's just another little leak, a leaker claiming that there are Metal Gear Solid remakes. So he says several Metal Gear Solid remakes in development. So, but I would assume that if they're making 1 and 3, wouldn't you also make 2? Now, if I'm being honest, I haven't played any Metal Gear Solid game. I mean, I've put 5 to 6 hours into Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, but the story is just so confusing to me because I haven't played the past games that I'm not really in it for the story. I'm very much in it for the technical aspects, the stealth, the gameplay. Especially the gameplay is just phenomenal. It's one of the most phenomenal gameplays of stealth games I've ever seen in my life, and I've just gone back to it recently, like a couple of days ago. Over the last week I've been playing some Metal Gear Solid 5, and that's what made me want to make this video as well. So I'm very much into the Metal Gear Solid leaks and rumors and news, and just really wanting to get the Metal Gear Solid remakes, especially the remakes, as soon as possible. And also with Silent Hill 2 remake being a PS5 exclusive, it also adds more weight to the fact that Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 3 remakes will be PS5 exclusive. But I would also assume that they would go the Resident Evil route and also do Metal Gear Solid 2 remake. It's weird that they would go from Metal Gear Solid 1 remake and straight away after that, let's just say like a year or two later, a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake would come out. For someone like me who has never played the Metal Gear Solid games or the past games at all and knows nothing about the story, I would find it kind of strange that Metal Gear Solid 2 was skipped out. So I don't know how good the story of Metal Gear Solid 2 is. It even canon? Those are the kind of questions I would be asking myself. So let me know in the comment section below, why is there kind of, because there's no leaks that suggest that Metal Gear Solid 2 remake is in development, but perhaps maybe they're gonna make both. But Metal Gear Solid 1 is a massive game from what I've seen, and to bring it over to next generation consoles remade with the amount of detail that's in Demon's Souls or one of the Resident Evil games, with hopefully no cut content, it's going to be it's a massive project, and that's probably why it's taken 3 years plus by the time we hit 2023. So that's something to think about, something to kind of speculate. Maybe that there is a Metal Gear Solid 2 in the works as well, but there are no reports to suggest that at the moment. So that's the Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 3 remakes supposedly in the works. So now let's get into the HD/4K remasters of the previous Metal Gear Solid titles. So we've talked about how Red Gaming Tech's YouTube channel suggests that not only are Metal Gear Solid remakes for PC and PS5 in the works, but Konami apparently plans on releasing HD remasters of Metal Gear Solid 2, 3 and 4 for PlayStation 5 as well. So he doesn't actually say for Xbox or PC, but I assume PC already, but he doesn't actually say for Xbox or maybe even for Nintendo. So maybe these remasters will also be console exclusive for PlayStation 5. But on September 22nd, 20th, again with GameRant, this article that states verified Reset Era member Potterson, who has a track record for these things, including originally leaking details about Starfield, Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 may be re-releasing on PC. So that was September 22nd, 2020. So did Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 re-release for PC? But I've just seen them on GOG.com, so I think that may be a re-release on PC. So that's probably just like a little enhancement, or perhaps just the original game re-released on PC there. So you can actually get Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 on PC through GOG.com, maybe on Steam as well, I'm not too sure, I never checked that. But there's also a theory that the Metal Gear Solid HD collection may be getting a 4K facelift. Another leak claims that a brand new Metal Gear Solid collection is in the works, and that Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriot, currently a pure PS3 exclusive, is going to be making the jump to a new platform as well. Now the next slice of rumors is from Gaming Bible and their article on September 1st, 2022. Dusk Golem, also known as the Aesthetic Gamer, took to Reset Era to reveal that Konami is once again reviving the classic stealth games for new audiences. He says, but the thing I've been a bit teasing off, and I know is 100% true, is Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3 are getting new remasters planned to come to everything, including Steam and console. So he says planned to come to everything, so I'm assuming Xbox and maybe I mean, these games would run on Switch. Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3 HD remasters, that could run on Switch. So maybe even Nintendo Switch could get them as well. The plan is new remastered versions of Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3 you can buy them separately, but if you buy them together as a collection, you'll also get Metal Gear 1 plus 2's MSX versions. So that is very, very interesting to me, because now he's not only saying they're going to be Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3, and he does specifically say 1 to 3, so he's not including 4 in this, whereas the other leaker was including 4. Red Gaming Tech did say that the Metal Gear Solid 4 remake, and I think another leaker also said, yeah, there was another leak claim that Metal Gear Solid 4 was also getting a facelift. But this leaker right here, Dusk Golem, also known as Aesthetic Gamer, did not say that there's going to be a Metal Gear Solid 4 HD remake, which is interesting. But also now he's also saying that if you you can buy these games separately, so you can go ahead and buy Metal Gear Solid 1 if you want on its own, HD version, remastered version of it. But if you buy them together as a collection, so the Metal Gear Solid kind of HD collection, the new one, you're also going to be getting Metal Gear 1, not Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear 1, which are the games that predate the Metal Gear Solid franchise. You're also going to be getting Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 MSX versions. So when he says MSX versions, I'm assuming these games will be ported. So they're going to be ported versions of the games to, you know, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC. Or is he saying that if you buy the console version, you're going to be getting versions for the MSX, which I think is MSX PC? I'm not too sure about what the MSX is, what console it is, but I'm assuming here that this is kind of like a port of Metal Gear 1 and 2 over onto the new platform. So that is pretty quick. That is like, whoa, okay? That is whoa. Not only are we getting Metal Gear Solid 1 to 3 according to this guy, but also Metal Gear 1 and 2 versions. So that is pretty... I would enjoy that. I would enjoy testing them out. There's definitely not games I would desire at all. But you know, if I'm gonna buy these games anyway, I would buy them as a collection. So having a little bit more, slightly more incentive to buy them as a collection, and you get these two kind of smaller games now, is very, very cool. I mean, Hideo Kojima worked on them both, so they're still Kojima games. So, and I've heard a lot of people saying that it's very well worth, if you're into these kind of games and you're able to stand them. Like, I can't really play them because of the graphics, you know, they're just too, graphics and controls, they're just too old for me. But a lot of people who can bear that, you're going to be getting a good experience with that anyway. So that's pretty cool that those games are also supposedly may come to new platforms as well. Okay. So what other Metal Gear Solid projects could we possibly be getting? Well, this one isn't a rumor or a leak or something inconspicuous. No. This is 100% true. We are going to be getting a Metal Gear Solid movie, which has been confirmed, I think, in 2018. And I've been showing concept art. I should have been showing concept art on the screen throughout this video of this movie. And it will be directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, who directed Kong Skull Island, and he's directed a Gundam movie as well, which is like a big mech robot thing. I don't know much about it, so go ahead, let me know in the comment section below. And it also will be starring Oscar Isaac, who is an incredible actor. He's going to be playing the role of Solid Snake, and he's just an incredible actor. He's in Dune, which I haven't watched, but he's also Moon Knight, and he's also Spider-Man 2099. He's also Poe in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. I mean, he's got a lot under his belt. He's an incredible flipping singer as well. He's insane. So I'm very happy with that choice of him being Solid Snake. And it's another thing where I haven't really experienced the story of Metal Gear Solid, so I would be very much looking forward to seeing this story of Metal Gear Solid. And just the concept art is absolutely incredible for this movie. It really is the director taking his time with this movie and taking time with knowing what the magic of Metal Gear Solid is. Just from the concept art, you can tell, and a lot of you who have played the game, who are very big fans, you can go ahead and see that for yourselves. And let me know in the comment section below how great you think this concept art looks. But the IMDb plot synopsis for this movie says an advanced tank is stolen by a terrorist group and an elite soldier. Solid Snake is dispatched to retrieve it. So it's kind of very, it's very simple so far. But this has been in development for, I think, since 2018. So it does take a long time to make a movie, and Oscar Isaac's very busy. So I don't know how far along there are, because there are no release dates for this movie. In terms of who's developing the script and screenplay for this movie, well, that would be Derek Connolly, who is the screenplay writer, Jay Basu is also a writer, and Hideo Kojima, who is listed, who has in brackets video games. So I don't know if he's going to be directly linked to the movie, or they're just listing him because of the video game, which they will take maybe lines of dialogue and inspiration from. So maybe that's why they've listed Hideo Kojima there. So that's everything we have on the Metal Gear Solid movie so far. So what about the sequel to the Metal Gear Solid franchise? What about what comes after Metal Gear Solid 5? Well, that would be Metal Gear Solid 6. Now, there are no rumors in the media. There's nothing that suggests Metal Gear Solid 6 is in development, and I think a lot of people, including myself, do not think this game is even being, in pre-production, whiteboarding stages, none of that. I don't think this game is even being talked about at all, because Hideo Kojima is not there. And I think the discussion and productions are all behind getting Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3 remakes, and perhaps the remasters of the previous games as well. Now, according to TechRadar, VGC's October 2021 report claims that Konami has a new Metal Gear project in early development. Now, I don't know what this could be, whether they're talking about Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. I mean, I would always assume that this would be the remakes, but maybe it could be even a spin-off game. Maybe it doesn't have to be Metal Gear Solid 6. It could be a completely new entry, just how Metal Gear Survive was a completely new entry, Metal Gear Rising was a completely new entry. Perhaps they're going with a new entry, a spin-off kind of game in the Metal Gear project franchise, as they are doing with the Silent Hill games, which is Silent Hill F, Ascension. They've got some new titles there, and maybe even exploring different mediums. Again, how they're doing it with Silent Hill, but I wouldn't assume that they would be doing that if they are making a new spin-off or an alternative Metal Gear game. I would assume that it would be console based and PC based as well. Now, talking about Bluepoint Games' next project, its first as an official first party developer under the PlayStation Studios banner, will not be a remake, but rather an original game. So that's something that we've talked about earlier in this video, that their next game won't be a remake. So it kind of puts it into question, are they the ones developing Metal Gear Solid 1 remake? But it also said it's an original game. Now, again, Metal Gear Solid 1 remake doesn't have to really be considered a remake. I mean, it's going to be a completely new game either way, because it's going to be rebuilt from the ground up, and it's really going to be rebuilt from the ground up, if that makes sense. Like, this is going to be a different perspective. Everything has to be redone, and perhaps even the writing and everything needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But I have heard people saying that they want the kind of cheesiness and craziness retained from the old Metal Gear Solid games. Now, Bluepoint Games co-founder and president Marco Thrush told IGN in an interview, making a game around true original development rather than a remake. So that's something that he's also stating, that this will be an original game. We have that original game development mindset in our hearts. And that's what we're now finally ready with the support of Sony to push forward and show what we can do and show what PlayStation can do. So whatever the next game is going to be, it could be Metal Gear, it could be maybe not a Metal Gear remake, but again a Metal Gear spin-off, a different alternative Metal Gear game. That could really, well, the most exciting thing here is that they say whatever the next game is, it's going to really show what the PlayStation can do, so what the PlayStation 5 can do. And that is something I really want to see in every game, in every next gen game. I feel like I know we haven't had a true next gen game so far. The PlayStation and Xbox Series X haven't been utilized yet. Of course, we're very early in it. We're in very, very early stages of these consoles, so it's going to be very exciting to see. The more next gen exclusive games come out, the more these consoles are going to be tested and their boundaries are going to be pushed. But do I think that Bluepoint Games is developing a Metal Gear Solid 6? I don't think so. I don't think Metal Gear Solid 6 is at all on the table. And if you're talking about a new entry into the Metal Gear Solid series, I don't think Metal Gear Solid 6 is coming anytime soon, but rather, most likely, if you were to choose one of the options, rather that a Metal Gear Solid spin-off or an alternative Metal Gear Solid game is rather in development over Metal Gear Solid 6. And hopefully, whenever we do get a Metal Gear Solid 6 announcement, maybe Konami, maybe Kojima could get the rights back for Metal Gear Solid 6, or have some kind of working relationship where he is in development of Metal Gear Solid 6, because in my opinion that's the only way it's going to work. But with all these games and rumors, if they are true, and if a lot of them are true, then I think a Silent Hill style showcase, the one that they did a couple months ago as of 30th of December 2022, is very appropriate to announce all of these games. As we saw in the Silent Hill showcase, we had Silent Hill 2 Remake, Silent Hill F, Ascension, which was a streaming online game, and we even had a Silent Hill movie. And it's very similar to what they're doing here with Metal Gear Solid. We've got a movie, we've got remakes, we've got remasters, and perhaps we could even get this potential spin-off alternative Metal Gear game. But I wouldn't even say, I would say forget that one. I think the remake is kind of like the new game. Metal Gear Solid 1 would just, remake would blow the minds out of every PlayStation user, especially with the claims that it's being a PS5 exclusive. And also Silent Hill 2 had PS5 exclusivity, so it kind of is similar. It's very similar to what's being rumored and what we've seen with the Silent Hill games. It's a very similar structure, and I think this is the structure Konami is going with. Remake the games of your past, get a movie, maybe even produce an anime now or something. That would be cool to see if they announce an anime or a TV show or something like that in the Metal Gear universe. So to wrap this video up, I want you guys to also do the same in the comments. We're going to go over what we've discussed, and we're going to give a percentage of how likely that these are actually going to be true. So Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake PS5 exclusive, I would give it a 80% chance of being true. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake, I would give a lower chance of it being true. So I would give it, I would say 60% chance. I'm very cautious. I would hope, I'm even going to add Metal Gear Solid 2 Remake. I think because there's no rumors, that's even lower of a chance. So I'm going to go ahead and say 40% chance, because if you're going to make a 1 remake and a 3 remake, then it would make sense to make 2 remake as well. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2 and 3 HD remasters, I think that's very likely. I'm going to go ahead and say 85% with those. Metal Gear Solid 4 HD remaster, I'm going to go ahead and give that lower. I'm going to give that a 60% remake. Now these games would also make up the Metal Gear Solid collection without Peace Walker. I'm going to go ahead and give the collection a 70% chance, and a 65% chance with so I'm going to give the collection with just 1, 2 and 3 HD remasters an 80% chance, I'd say, and with Metal Gear Solid 4, I'm going to give it a 60% chance again. A Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 MX ROM version ported to new platforms within the Metal Gear Solid collection. I'm going to give that such a low chance. I'm going to give that a 15% chance of being real. That just doesn't sound real to me. That just, I don't know. That just doesn't sound real. Metal Gear Solid movie, that's obviously 100% true, but getting any more information in 2023, I'm going to give it a 45% chance. I'm going to give that 45% chance, especially if we do get a Metal Gear Solid showcase, which I think, with everything being discussed here today, I think 2023 seems like the perfect year to announce a lot of this stuff and to even release HD remasters, at least of 1 and 2, to the PS5 and new platforms, and just have a little bit more details on the Metal Gear Solid movie and just kind of showcase the future of Metal Gear Solid. I think 2023 is the perfect year. It just feels like everything's in place. I feel like if this Metal Gear Solid 1 remake has been in development for a while, it's very much most likely got a playtest build. It's very ready to show off to the public in terms of getting a gameplay trailer. And I think now that God of War Ragnarok is out and we're going to start the marketing for Spider-Man 2, that's going to be released in 2023 fall. So we're going to need a new game, a new PS5 exclusive, a big exclusive that needs to be talked about, you know, like kind of like to push the momentum of PlayStation 5's next game. So I think Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake is that game to kind of push forward and say, yes, we cannot wait for most likely release date of 2024, I'm going to say, with the Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake. I think that would be a 2024 title. I feel like it's had a lot of time in development, and I think with a lot of the rumors saying that this is the one that's very much real, and that 1, 2, and 3 HD remasters are very much real, I feel like those two out of everything we've discussed are the most likely to be true. And I feel like the HD remasters could be released, at least 1 and 2 could be released in 2023, and Metal Gear Solid 3 remaster, not the remake, remaster could be released in 2024 alongside Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake as well. So those are kind of my final thoughts on all this. I'm very, very excited to see the future, and I really want to hear what your guys' thoughts on this Metal Gear Solid franchise is looking like with Konami in 2023 and beyond. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out, God bless, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care, guys.